What's going on? We are about to dive into a walkthrough of the app for iOS and Android called KineMaster. It's a video editing app. It's free. There are some in-app purchases that you can use if you want, but we're not going to get into any of those. So we're going to be using the basic free form of KineMaster app. So go download this if you haven't already. It's in your app store. If you haven't done that yet, you can pause this and go do that now. Otherwise, we're going to get right into it. So right off the bat, we have the loading screen or the front screen here. There's a few different options of what we can do, but the only one we're going to worry about is this one right here. It's a video slate with a little plus in it. That's basically just saying that we're going to start the project. So click that. It's going to give you options for the aspect ratio that you want to make your project. And basically this just means, as you can tell from here, is do you want it horizontal, do you want it vertical, or do you want it a square? Now you can choose which one you'd prefer, but we're going to start with 16:9 horizontal. Now once you click that, it's going to bring you into this screen here, which is where you're going to do all your editing. So to get started, and just kind of go that way with it, we're going to click media up top here. This is where we're going to add in our different clips. So we're going to click that. It's going to bring up a bunch of different options of places that we can bring in different clips. So what I'll do is I'll click all. I'm going to scroll down. I have some clips from a shoot that I did a couple weeks ago that I'm going to pull in. So you just tap and it's going to add it to your timeline down here. That's where we're going to be working. And pick a few different clips that you want to use. So I'll click a few of these here, make sure I've got some stuff to work with. And okay, that's about 5 or 6 clips. When you're done, what you want to do is up here in the top right, click the little check mark, and that's going to put that away. And you can use your finger to scroll through here. This is basically just the clips that we've just added are now in our timeline. Timeline is where we're going to be working, where these are laid out. So as you can tell here, one clip ends, the next one starts. We can go to the end of this one, that clip ends, this clip starts, so on and so forth. So we're going to bring it back to the front here. Now that we've got the clips that we want to use in our timeline, it's a matter of figuring out how we want to edit this together. And this is where you can kind of get creative with it, but I'm just going to give you the tools so you know what you need to do, and then you can decide how to put them to use. So first thing is first, we're going to look at this clip here, kind of just play through it a little bit, see what we've got going on. If we want, we can just go back to the start and hit play. It's going to show us what that clip looks like, and it's going to go right into the next one. So when we hit play, it's playing our entire timeline of clips that we have. I don't want to go all the way through because there's a lot of unnecessary stuff in there still, but let's start with, like we talked about, the wide clip first. Then we will cut into the medium and the close-up. So if we want to bring this one, I like this one because it starts wide. We'll just play this real quick. Starts wide and gets closer. Kind of goes all the way up. Okay, so I don't want to use all that, but I do want to use that one first. So what we'll do is we'll click that, tap it rather. You can hold it, and when you hold a clip, press it and hold it, it lets you drag it around and reorder. So we'll bring it all the way to the left, and now we will let go, and that is the first clip in our timeline. So we're starting wide here. I'm going to, from this point, pick where I want to start the clip. So I might have a couple seconds or a little bit at the beginning here that I don't want, like that little bit of wobble at first. See that again there? I don't like that. So I might want to start the clip like here, about 2 seconds in. So what I do at this point now is you can tap the clip, and we've got a few different options over on the right hand side here. Trim, split, cropping, mixer, filter, all these different things. And these are basically our toolkit for this app. And the most basic one that we're going to use is trim and split. This is what makes editing video special from just recording and uploading. So like I said, I want to cut this at 2 seconds in. So I'm going to hit trim split, and it gives me a few different options here. It's trim to the left of the playhead. The playhead is that red line you see of where the clip is currently at. Trim to the right of playhead, split at playhead, split and insert freeze frame, and extract audio. What these all mean is just it's giving us options on how we trim and cut this clip. So like I said, everything to the left, I didn't want. That's just shaky footage. It's taking too long to get started. So what I would do here is just click or tap that top option, trim to left of playhead. And when I do that, you'll notice that it just cut out everything that was to the left of that red line. So that's what that's doing. Just to give you another little look at what we can do there. The top left, if you just did something that you don't like, it's a backwards looped arrow. Tap that, that's undo. And then we can just go into 2 seconds again because it brought it back. Tap it, bring up our options, go back to trim split, and say I wanted to do it a little bit differently and split it at the playhead. Well, now it just split that instead of deleting that. So once we get out of that, this is 2 separate clips. If for some reason I wanted to take this beginning part and drag it somewhere else, I can now because it's its own independent video clip. But that's not what I wanted to do, so we'll just tap that. And over here on the left, there's a trash can. If you have any clip that you don't want, you just tap that trash can after you highlight it, and it's gone. So now we're back here. Here's what we're looking at. So this clip goes for quite some time, and I don't want to use all of it because it kind of just gets shaky, it gets unorganized. When I was shooting this, I probably thought that I would cut it into different clips anyway. So what we're going to do, since we've got some different cool parts going on here showing different things, we're going to use that split at playhead option again. And this is an example, a great example of where you would use that. So say we just passed the truck here. We're establishing that they're working on this truck. We're at about a little over 4 seconds. We'll tap right there. We're going to go back to trim split, and we're going to go back to split at playhead. Now we've got separate clips. We can just tap that check mark to get out of there. Now we've got this separate clip here. And what I might do, since a lot of this is just that walking up shot that we don't necessarily want to use, once we get up to here, we're showing something different. It's essentially a different clip at this point. So what I might do is scrub through to figure out, okay, right here about is where we're showing that new action. Tap it, and good old reliable split at playhead. Tap that. Or if you wanted, since it's its own clip now, you could tap that and trim to the left of playhead. Just a matter of your preference. So now what we're looking at is so that's what we're working with right now. We've got the 2 separate clips, 2 different actions going on. This is great if you are just rolling continuously on one long shot, not really sure what you're going to get, but you know you got to keep rolling. This is a great way to go in and separate those things. So again, we might go through here, and once we get to this point, okay, we don't want anything else. So let's just say split a playhead again. Want to give you an example of some other options we can do here. So I'm just going to blow through real quick, edit this down and cut out parts that I don't like, and then we'll hop back in and check out some of the other features. Okay, so reached a point now where pretty happy with the order and timing of everything in the timeline. So I cut things around, shaved some time off of the overall clips, and reordered some things to kind of follow that wide, mid, close-up order. So we're gonna play through it here just so you can check that out real quick. So we're just under 30 seconds there. You know, we don't want to go too long. Remember, like we said, we've got people's attention spans that we're fighting here. So we're going to take it back to the beginning here. And there's adjustments that I know I want to make to certain clips, not with trimming though. So just to give you an idea of what else we can do here, like we said earlier, we've got cropping, which is, actually we'll go to a clip that might use cropping. Let's see. So we might go to clip like this, where it's kind of a close-up. We might want to get even more closer. So we'd click, we'd go to cropping, and essentially what it's doing here is allowing us how close we want this to look and in the frame. So we can drag it over here, and if we use both fingers to pinch in and zoom here, we can, you'll see over here it's showing which part of the frame we're showing too. So make sure you don't have any edge hanging over, but if we zoom in like this and leave it there, that's how it's going to show. And to make sure that it stays that way the whole way throughout the clip, we want to go over here to this little equal sign button and click that, so that way throughout the whole clip it's showing like that. So let's just make sure that it's doing exactly what we want it to. We'll hit play, and there we go. We've got the cropped in shot for that clip. So that is the second feature of things we can edit here. Next up, we'll see we've got the mixer, which is for audio. Now, how I usually edit is I'll put music or a song of some sort over top of a video if there's not important audio that needs to be there. And that's what we're going to do here. So what we'll do is we'll click this, and we will actually a better way to do this is the extract audio feature that we have under trim and split. If we click extract audio, what it does is separates just the audio from that clip so that we can mess with that separately. But what we're going to do is just click it, gives us some more options over here. We're going to click it and just hit the trash can and delete. So you can just go right ahead, extract your audio from these different clips, and then we will just make sure that all our actual clips that we're showing are totally silent, so we don't get any weird interference when we have music over top of it. So again, you can just go right on through, trim and split, extract audio, and you can just get rid of that. And then just blow right on through again, trash can all these, and we'll be in good shape. Now, If we wanted to mess with the audio, there are some features in here. We can control how loud we want it to be, 100 being standard, so we can make it totally quiet or silent. We can make it totally loud if it's a quiet clip. This is for effects that we want to put on. That is, I believe, a premium feature, so don't even worry about that. We can adjust the pitch. So if someone's talking, we can adjust how high or low their voice is. And we can pan it to the left or right, meaning if we want the sound to come from the left or right speaker, again, that's something you really probably won't need to mess with. There's an auto volume feature that if you just don't even want to think about it and just would rather let the app handle it, you can do that as well. So that's the features we have there. Next up, what we've got is filter. Now this is cool if you just want to add a little bit of an even look to your project overall. You can has options right here, basic color effects. You can just click through. You'll see it's adding different colors and looks to the clip overall. Again, you can use your discretion, whichever you want to add, whatever you think looks best. Wow, that's bold. So you can just kind of see what we've got going on here, and there's a decent handful of different options, and this is what they all look like. So we're gonna take it back to none for now, because there's another option that I'm going to show you that kind of affects that. Next up, we have speed. Speed is important because it can slow down a clip if you need it to. And I had that in mind for this clip here, where what it's doing is showing. Let's try that again. It's showing this signage, free estimate in hours, not days. But when I got the clip, I didn't get it, that part specifically for as long as I wanted to. But I know what I can do here is go to speed. And what it's doing is giving us different options here. I don't think it's going to let us speed it up for whatever reason. However, we can slow it down right here with this slider. So we have 1, which is full speed, 0.5, just half speed, 0.25, just quarter speed. I would never recommend going way down to 0.25 because it kind of makes it look really choppy and not too good, which we'll show here. So that doesn't really look great. It kind of looks like 80s movies when they would have that real choppy slow-mo kind of stylized thing. And, you know, if that's what you're into, go for it. But let's take it to 0.5, which should look pretty good. So yeah, it's still smooth, and we've got the clip showing a little bit longer there. You'll notice that the clip gets more drawn out there because what we're doing is stretching the time of it, so it's showing longer in our timeline. So let's see that in the timeline sequence here. Cool. Looks good enough to me. I like it. We can go through any clip that we want and slow it down if we really wanted to, but for sake of this walkthrough and tutorial, I think you get the idea of what it can do there. So the next option we have is rotate and mirroring. So if you see this clip right here, this is what our little preview is showing in our playhead. If I click this, any of these things over here, it's going to flip the screen. So if you have someone facing the wrong way you don't really like, you can flip them. You can flip it upside down. You can actually do both if you really wanted, but we're going to take it back to normal there. We can also rotate it if for any reason you wanted to do that, left or right. There's no clips here that really call for that, so we're just gonna keep that as normal. But it is an option if that's something you wanted to do. Clip graphics is basically if we want to add like text over top of what we have here. So we'll go to, we'll go to our end here. I have this up as the last screen, and what we'll do is, I like it, it's showing the logo, it's a close-up. Let's go to clip graphics here, basic title effects. So we'll do subtitle. Title text goes here. So we can type in, say, call today, exclamation point. And if we just hit that check mark, there we have it there. So we'll hit OK, and we'll take a step back and look at this. So that pops up at the end there. You can put whatever you want. If you wanted to put a phone number, if you wanted to say just like something to kind of narrate what's going on in the shot, you can do that as well. So let's try and get that off of there now. Go back to there and go back to none. So now we have no text option on that. The next feature we have is vignette. This is very simple. You can turn it on and it's a vignette around the screen, which is just like a darkness except in the center. Turn it on, turn it off. That's cool if you just want to add a little bit of style or dramatic effect to a different shot. I don't use it too often, but it's nice to know that you have it there. Next up, we've got audio filter. This is kind of tacky. It's not, you wouldn't find any like use for it in something serious, but if you're just messing around uploading a video of someone talking and you want to kind of mess with it a little bit, it basically just puts an audio filter over top of what's there. Chipmunk, obviously you're going to sound like a high-pitched chipmunk. Robot's going to make it sound a little like distorted. Deep, we'll just throw it down opposite chipmunk. And then modulation, not actually sure what that'll do. It'll probably make it like sound wavy, like different effects going on. Where are we at here? Okay. Next up, we have got volume envelope. Volume envelope is cool because it will let you go through different parts of the clip. So say there was like a really loud bang in a clip. I wish I had an example of that right now, but I don't. So say that we're scrolling through and the loud bang happens like right here to here. And we were like, no, we don't want that part in there. We want it to be quiet. So what we'll do is click the part right before it starts and hit this little circle with a plus. What that's going to do is create like a checkpoint. We'll call it a node. And it creates a node right there, which is basically saying this is where you can start editing. What we'll do is add a second node right here, like a second later. And what's cool is when we go on that node, we can adjust how the volume affects. So it basically just says at this point is what it's affecting the sound around it. So what we'll do is we'll go back there and bring that back down to 100 or as close as we can. We can also delete nodes if we messed up or we don't want it there. So we'll add that back in. And these just let you jump from one to the other. So what we'll do here is actually go in the middle there, add one, and we'll drag that one down. So if you want to just drag down a single point, you kind of have to have at least 3 nodes. What I typically do when I'm editing on a computer is I'll have 4, because what that lets you do is have like a shelved control of where you want volume to lower and start back up. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's say right in here is like a really noisy part that we don't want in there. So what I'll do is add one node right there, and I'll go just a small smudge over as soon as it lets me add another node. Add that there, and then I'll go to the end and I'll add 2 nodes right next to each other as well. Then I'll go to this middle point and actually, sorry about that. I'll go to these middle nodes here and I'll bring the volume, say, all the way down. And I'll go to this other middle one and bring the volume all the way down. What we've done here is basically created a shelf where we've created a shelf of silence. We can just make it lower volume if we want to. We don't even need to make it totally silent. So we can say we still want the sound, but we just know it's a little bit too loud. As soon as it hits there, it's going to get quiet, and then it's going to bounce right back up. That's just a cool feature to have if you need it. I don't always use it, but it's nice to have. So we'll get rid of all those volume nodes because we don't actually have audio on this, but just wanted to show you that. What else do we have? We have adjustment, which is basically our last feature here. What it's going to let us do is it's going to give us sliders to adjust different parts of the clip. So if you've ever used like Instagram or any basic photo editors, this is what this is doing. It's adjusting our brightness overall. So maybe I want that a little bit brighter, 17, 19%. This is going to be our contrast. So always like a little more contrast. It's just me. We'll bump that up a little bit. And then we've got saturation. So we'll say, sure, we'll bump that up to give it like a super real looking thing. You can edit this however you want. It's just the 3 sliders that are the most common impact editors. We'll bring that down and just show what you can do here. So we'll say like we want a really faded look maybe. You can do that as well. But, you know, I like personally a little more of a look like this. And then we click that, and just throughout the whole clip, that's how it's going to look, which is pretty cool. We can do that to any clips we want. If we wanted to go over to this one, we could do the same thing, go down to adjustment, brighten it up a little bit, boost that contrast, and boost that saturation. So let's show that. Wow, that is a adjusted clip. So yeah, that's what we have. And what's cool about this too is you can add music of your choice over. So what we'll do is click audio, and we can, this is all the music I have on my phone, but it does have options for like music assets and sound effects. That's stuff that you have to buy. Again, I don't think it's necessary, but if that's something you're into, you can look into that. So we'll pick this song, Stay. I use this for a lot of different stuff. It's a friend of mine's band that made an album, and it's just a good song. So again, if we hold down this clip in our timeline, it'll let us move that all around. So I'm going to just, all I did there was trim the front off where there was no music yet and just slid it up forward. And what we have now is this. We have music behind our audio, or music behind our clips, rather. And it just stops as soon as the clips are over as well. So, you know, you don't need to worry about all this extra 2.5 minutes of music there. But, you know, the goal here is just to make it more interesting than it would be if it were just a single clip without any adjustments or anything done to it. So that's really the basics of doing that. If we wanted to say not use music instead, or you know, we'll go all out here. You can hit voice, and it's just going to ask to let you use the microphone. So I'll hit OK. So what we can do here is hit voice, and it's going to let us record a voiceover. So maybe we'll just hit start. What you're seeing here is clips from a shoot that I had with Night Owl Graphics in Croydon the other week. What you're seeing is they're working on graphics for a truck for Monster Tree Service, which is one of the largest and quickest growing tree service franchises in the US. Hit stop. And what we're going to do now is this third layer here in the timeline is our audio that we just got. So we'll hit review. What you're seeing here is clips from a shoot that I had with Night Owl Graphics in Croydon the other week. What you're seeing is their work. Okay, I like that. That's good enough. But oh no, our audio here is just too loud. Well, our music. We're gonna click. Sorry, let me go back there. If you click that, it brings up more options here. So we'll click mixer, and all of a sudden, we've got a bunch of different options here. All we really want to worry about is this volume right here. So we'll bring that down to say 25-ish%. Click OK. And now this should be quieter. Let's hear. What you're seeing here is clips from a shoot that I had with Night Owl Graphics in Croydon the other week. What you're seeing is they're working on graphics for a truck for Monster Tree Service, which is one of the largest and quickest growing tree service franchises in the US. So we just lowered the volume on our music background, or background music, so that we can hear the voiceover. And again, that's not something you always need to do, but if you just have clips that you want to talk over, this is an easy, quick way to do it. So that's really the majority of what you need to worry about being able to do with this. It goes a little more in depth, like you can add other layers over top, text and stuff like that. So we'll say, thanks for watching. There we go. Thanks for watching. Check mark. And we can have that on the screen wherever we want. Say we want this toward the end more. We'll put that over here, and it'll just show up right at the end. So it's nice knowing that you can add all these different things. Our timeline down here can get a little busy if you keep adding stuff, so you can just scroll up and down if you want to see other stuff that you have there. But yeah, I mean, that's really the basics of it, and that's, it goes pretty in depth. If I were editing this, you can get a little more creative with it and make different cuts to clips at different parts of the music, and that's all stuff that just comes with time and practice. But I wanted to give you and show you the tools for how to get started doing this. And the most important part is just starting and not worrying about it being perfect. Like, this is no perfect edit right here. I mean, we just have words popping up anywhere. But if this were my first thing ever, I'd be like, wow, I got something together. So based on everything else we talked about, make sure that you start using this and putting together and putting into action the different things that you can show for your business. The one little caveat is that with this app, you're going to have that watermark up here made with KineMaster. Unless, like, if you're just putting these out as little promo videos and online stuff, like kind of we talked about it in the workshop, that's going to be fine. Don't worry about that. But if you're using these for something a little more permanent, like a video that's going to stay on your website, like your About Us page or something like that, I would maybe look at getting that removed. If you click here, the trash can, to get rid of the watermark, gives you options for pricing. And really, the pricing here is not that bad compared to other stuff. But again, for most of what you're going to need, it's going to be fine. So if you're done with this, all you have to do is click this little top right box. It's like a box with an out arrow. Tap that. It's going to give you options for exporting it. Over here, we've got, the different resolutions. So we'll just do full HD, which is 1080, which is standard resolution of anything that you watch on TV or most of the stuff on YouTube. Frame rate. This is, like we talked about, like 60 is used for slow-mo because it's capturing more in a single second. 24 usually looks really nice. I like using that on my actual cameras. It says cinema because it looks kind of smoother, or not smoother, like more cinematic for whatever reason. So we'll click that, and then you can do low quality or high quality. Always want to do high quality. And we will hit export. This is just a screen that's basically saying, like, if you want to do all these different things, just hit skip. It's going to export. And depending on how large your project is, it could be a longer process or a shorter process. We've only got 30 seconds here and not a lot of footage or anything, like not a lot of layers. So it should be pretty quick. There it is. And now we can watch it back. What you're seeing here is clips from a shoot that I had with Night Owl Graphics in Croydon the other week. What you're seeing is they're working on graphics for a truck for Monster Tree Service, which is one of the largest and quickest growing tree service franchises in the US. So that is the end product there. Again, for more than the sake of a tutorial, that would be cut together a little more clean and have a clear purpose and idea. But, there's the tools that you need to get it done. So if you have any questions about this, let me know. I'd be glad to help out the best I can. But otherwise, I challenge you to just go get started. Go start shooting and cutting your work together, and you're only going to get better. So thanks for watching. Hope you got some value out of this, and we'll talk soon.